Governments deny it. Militaries deny it. Even the mainstream media denies it. But they are here, and they've been here for a very long time. The Mutual UFO Network has been on the front lines uncovering the truth since 1969. And now we're sharing that truth with you. Welcome to MUFON What's Up with your hosts, Katie Page, Christopher DePerno, and Tara Diulis. Exclusively on the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. Wondering what's up? So are we.
What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday night, and you're listening to MUFON What's Up Radio, the show that says discovery starts with curiosity, and curiosity starts with MUFON, brought to you by KGRADB.com. As always, we're endorsed by MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, always asking that all-important question, are we alone in the universe? I am your host, Katie Page, the Colorado MUFON State Director, and tonight we have a super special guest for you. I got to meet her a few years back at one of the MUFON Symposium, Nancy Tertre, and she has written a couple amazing books, How to Talk to an Alien and Psychic Intuition, and I cannot wait to get to our special guest here in a little bit after news and case of the week and products and that. First, I'd like to bring in my special co-host. We have Tara Diulis. Tara, how are you doing? You can also see Tara right here on KGRA on Sky Tour Live with Mark D'Antonio. How you doing, Tara?
Hey, what's up, Katie? Glad to be here. What's up? What's up?
Always got to look up, especially in the winter. Our caseload is down in the winter because so many people are just, especially it's like, it's so cold. New York, Texas, these ice storms in Texas, that's like scary. Yeah, I don't mind driving in like heavy snow in Colorado, stick it into 4-wheel drive and go. But the ice, when you get sheets of ice on those roads, like everybody stay safe out there. Like that's scary stuff. Yeah. I also want to introduce Chris DePerno. Chris DePerno is the state director of New York and also on the ERT. And Jerry and Jenna. What's up, Chris? Where's Jerry and Jenna?
Hey. Jerry and Jenna are on leave. They took a week off, but they'll be back
they
next
probably
week.
went to the Bahamas or somewhere warm.
Yeah, I can tell you it's cold as hell out here. Hey, we're gonna have a great show with Nancy Tertre, whatever. She wants to talk about aliens. I got to tell you, most of the people that talk to aliens, they told me what they said. It hurts. So I mean, I got to go and see if there's any more than that. But anyway, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I agree.
Where do you take us off today, Tara?
Oh, hey, have you seen this meme? You see there's an alien sitting in his chair reading the newspaper, and the headlines say, they're real, humans exist, and there's a human face on the cover. Well, the wife's standing next to him, nagging and saying, honestly, Hank, how can you read that rubbish?
National Enquirer.
Yes, humans are real.
I look back at humans are real. And I look back at some of those National Enquirer articles, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's true.
Did you ever wonder if they watched our television shows? I mean, some of the television shows we put out, don't you think that they think, my God, why do we want to go down there and talk to these guys? These guys are nuts. Yeah. They're blowing up cars that go running over. They're shooting everybody. I mean, it's just a crazy world.
There's a lot of good out there as well. So hopefully they're paying attention.
Right. I was going to say, we have a good sense of humor. And I often wonder if there's humor in the universe. Like, do aliens tell jokes? I don't know.
Well, I know
maybe that's why we're so special,
Yeah, I know they lock their doors when they fly by us. It says, Helen, lock the doors. We're going by Earth right now. So
run away. I bet there's alien love out there, and I bet they celebrate Valentine's Day too. So I think that you guys might be interested in these things. Have you seen these pillows? Look what I found on Etsy.
Look at that. I love the colors.
It's called Alien Heartbeats. This is called Alien Out of This World in Love. How sweet.
I like that one.
That's because I want to hold your hand.
Great for a nightmare.
Isn't it they're strange, but yet they're still pleasing and calming, I think. So that one's Shrouded in Love. And then this one is I Love You Just the Way You Are. How sweet. Then there's Hopelessly in Love. I like that one. There's got the beam and the UFO above it. And it's just very sweet. And then you can give your maybe the aliens give their loved ones the pillows, but I'm sure they give them lollipops like these chocolates. These are rosebud chocolates that I found on Etsy, and they're just really beautiful. And they have they can be dressed up and labeled specifically for any event. But all of these beautiful little pillows and lollipops can be found on Etsy. So check them out, everyone. And speaking of products, we mentioned briefly last week about Fuel Up. I know,
yeah,
isn't
that
that cool?
stuff is awesome.
Can you believe it? Well, guess what? It's my pleasure to introduce to you guys the Chief Energy Officer, or CEO, as they call it, of Wake Up Hydration System. And it's Kevin Kiekler. Hi, Kevin. Are you there? Welcome.
I'm here,
Hi,
Tara. How are
Kevin.
you?
Hi.
Hey, Katie. What a
Good to
lively
see
group
ya.
here. This is awesome.
Well, we're glad
down
to
in
have
Texas,
you
so we're
here.
dealing with that ice storm you talked about.
Oh man, hope you're staying safe.
You need a warm up.
Stay off the roads. Stay off the roads.
Definitely.
That's
Thanks
right.
for having
Stay
me
home
on.
and drink your fuel up.
Yes.
That's right. I appreciate y'all having me on. And yes, I will say y'all occasionally and fixing to and those things. But anyway, we introduced Fuel Up, about 2.5, 3 years ago. And it's probably the finest seller hydration drink with the strongest immune enhancing ingredient available. And it's all based on the aloe vera plant, but the most potent extracts. And I've been on this type of a product for almost 30 years. And knock on wood, I don't get sick. I don't take any of the vaccinations. I feel great. And, it gives you energy, but it gives you, most importantly, hydration. If you're 2% hydrated, it affects your brain function. Mm-hmm. So we put a proprietary formula in it that helps cognitive skills, gives you energy, focus, concentration, and it works. We added Bilo, which is our proprietary part of the ace mannan, which comes from the aloe vera, and 7 times stronger than anything else in the market like it. Mm-hmm. So, and then the last thing is our product tastes great. So I know y'all have had the Wake. That's the morning product, 180 milligrams caffeine, but it doesn't give you jitters. You won't crash, and it's all our ingredients we source from the best possible resources, and we really are careful about the type of caffeine and the sweeteners, and we come out with our full new line of low cal, low carb, low sugar. It's 2 grams of sugar and 6 grams of carbs. And I have to tell you, you drink it, and Katie and I were talking about it earlier, you drink it in the morning, and within 20, 25 minutes, you're going to feel this sense of well-being. You're going to have energy. It just makes you feel great. It'll carry you through the day. And then, of course, the play is you can drink it all day long. It's their hydration with proprietary formula, and the rest in the evening, 10 milligrams of melatonin, and it helps you fall asleep and sleep well, and your body heals at night when you sleep. So this also helps you with recovery and rejuvenation. So we put together a complete system that's I want to say healthy. You're not supposed to say healthy, and we'll put the disclaimer up in a few minutes. But it's unbelievable. There's nothing else like it. We've got thousands of customers across the country, some global, and our retention rate's great. And
I love that graphic. That's awesome.
We're working on a fuel for the spaceship, so we can get them down here closer. So, that's our next project. But in all seriousness, we sure want to have your listeners and audience try this product. The good thing is and here's where I'll close on the product. The Bilo, once it's been in your system for 30 to 45 days, you're going to start noticing the benefits of the Bilo. Your skin, your hair's gonna grow faster, your nails will grow faster, your overall feeling of well-being, and you'll feel better. So anyway, that's kind of the makeup on the product. And should I go over a special offer we might have?
Yeah, let's try
dude.
it.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Awesome.
So one thing I want to make sure everybody knows, we source our ingredients globally, but this is made in America. It's made about an hour and a half from me in one of the largest powder and liquid manufacturers in the country. And it's unbelievable. And we if it's on the label, it's in the product, vice versa. We follow everything to the utmost of integrity. I'll put it that way. So for the MUFON listeners, what we're going to do is, and you can go to, this will help you find this and you can see it. Just go to Fuel Up. That's fuelup.gg /MUFON, MUFON. There's no .com anywhere on the address. A lot of people mistake and they don't go anywhere. So, but what we're going to do is you can buy any 1, 2, or 3 of our products under what we call preferred membership. And we're going to give you a discount up front, 15% discount up front. You're also going to receive that discount on recurring orders each month. And we're going to give you a free shaker bottle. And now we're going to have to start working on one that's more creative for your audience. And we're also going to give you free shipping and a feel the difference money back guarantee. If you don't feel the difference with our product with the 30 days, send it back. No questions asked. And I promise you're going to like the taste of it. And, if it doesn't taste good, people aren't going to drink it. So that 6 months in R&D before we launch the product. And we're going to liquid in the future. So that's another thing to be thinking about. But, the powder's simple to use. Put it in a shaker bottle, shake it up. And we say shake it and wait for it. So that's my story. Down here.
Kevin, what I like about it, it doesn't really, I tried it and I'm a diabetic and I tried it. It didn't really spike my sugar. I mean, so I was really happy with that because, I'm constantly worried about my sugar level, but I use it in the morning. And let me tell you, folks, I hate exercise. Ever since I retired from the police department, exercise is like exorcism. I put the two of them together.
Allergic.
Right. And my head spins around and everything. But I started using this product and I get on the bike and I can't stop. I get on the treadmill. I can't stop. So I'm not really quite sure if I really like this because I'd rather be sitting eating ice cream. But it is working. So I will tell you, folks, if you want to get a good start in the morning, you want to get your day going good, where you're not fighting with your wife because you're grumpy all the time, try this product. And it will not spike your blood sugar. It'll make you feel good. You get up, you feel like $1 million. And you know what? It's well worth the money.
I love it.
Great testimony. And if when you go to the site, on the right side, it's got Judge Me reviews, and you can read all of our testimonials from our customers out there. And it definitely makes a difference. So thank you for that testimony. We can bring some on as well, but I could talk forever. The reason I get up every morning is because we're not just, this isn't a product just to have people, everybody says, oh, is it an energy drink? No, this is a product that, quote unquote, from one of our customers, not only did it change my life, it saved my life.
That's powerful stuff.
We all need help.
Room thinking they're having a heart attack and they're simply dehydrated.
Especially up here in the Rocky Mountains, we have to stay hydrated here in the Colorado Rockies. So, hey, all your Colorado listeners, get this Fuel Up, stay hydrated. Kevin, we appreciate you so much coming on and telling us all about your wonderful product.
Kevin, I don't know if this is part of the product, but I will tell you, ever since I started drinking it, I'm getting more black in my hair. Is that, I mean, maybe you can make it, put a little something in there where the hair gets a little thicker. But I mean, I was just, hey, I'm getting a little black in my hair. It's not going gray.
It looks good on you, Chris.
Give it another 30 days and look what happens. We might not recognize it. Nah. Katie, what you just said real quick, I've got a good buddy I just talked to yesterday that's got a house in Durango. And I'm 65 years old and they're my age, and they go skiing every morning, hiking in the spring, summer, and everybody comes up there, the altitude, and they give everybody Fuel Up, and they're all like, I feel so much better. I don't have the headache. So yes, it's great up there.
Inspiring. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, and hope we have you back on and hear more testimonials. So thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate it. And I'm going to have a lot of fun learning more and more about your world because I'm once you dive deep into this world, you'll never get out. Warning.
It's not a bad thing.
Disclaimer across the screen.
So we may be coming to Roswell and we'll get to meet everybody.
Oh, there nice. That'd be awesome. We will be there. Yep. We hope to see everybody out there in Roswell at the UFO Expo. So check that out. All right. So thanks, Chris, thank you, Kevin.
Thanks,
Y'all have a
What do you
great
have for
day,
news?
and,
You too. Chris, what do you have for
What a
news?
nice guy.
Yeah.
What
What a nice guy.
awesome.
The news. All right.
What's
let me
up
put
with the news?
My
What's
reading glasses on here. Let me get a couple of stories
Buckle
here.
up, everybody.
Oh yeah, let's
Always
pick this. Now
entertaining.
Okay,
this
this
one
will be
I gotta
good.
tell you, I laughed my ass off through this one because I gotta tell you, there's craziness out in the world. All right, time traveler claims hostile
No.
alien named the champion. Why, if you're a hostile alien, why would you name the champion? We'll take back the Earth in 2023. He can't come soon enough.
2023? This year?
2023 this year. I've been
Oh,
looking
no.
outside.
Oh, that's
It ain't
this
come yet.
year.
A time traveler on social media
Oh, my
platform
goodness.
TikTok has claimed, and thank you, China, has claimed in a new shocking video that an extraterrestrial being named the champion will come and take over the Earth this year. A TikTok time traveler has warned that a hostile alien named the champion could soon swoop down to Earth and take over the planet. TikToker Eno Alaka, who goes by the
Easy
name
for
of
you to say.
Radiant Time Traveler on the social media platform, has made shocking claim that the alien will take over the Earth in 2023. The Daily Star. Now, there's a real reputable paper. The Daily Star reports that self-proclaimed time traveler has often posted hints of a major events on TikTok when referencing an alien invasion in 2023. Now, you got to remember, everybody's talking about aliens coming. Everybody's talking that they might be hostile. Even the government is saying they could be hostile.
And they're underground
And
too.
everybody's
Sure.
talking
Yeah.
about an alien invasion. So let it come. I can quit being healthy, eat a whole bunch of ice cream, and let the world blow. The
But keep
TikTok
drinking
warned
your
that the-
fuel up, Chris.
Yes.
If it's gonna come, I want the pistachio ice cream. I'm sorry, guys. I'll drink the fuel with it. I'll mix the ice cream with the fuel.
There you go.
Anyways, the world will soon end,
Yum.
and only a handful of people will be rescued. The social media, hey, by the way,
Chris's
if
Ark.
this does happen, you can rent a space on my Ark.
There you
Okay.
go.
The social media posted on December 3rd and told their 129,000 followers that an extraterrestrial species known as the champion has arrived. Using dramatic graphics in the TikTok clip, Eno, who claimed to have came from the year 2671. If the world ends, how's he around in 2671? But hey, that's for another story. The world will soon end.
Reincarnation?
A very
Huh.
high. He says he's from 2671, but the world's going to end in 2023. The world will soon end. A very hostile alien species is coming to take back the Earth. We will not win. Another alien whose world was destroyed by the hostiles will save some of us. On March 23rd, 2023, about 8,000 people will be taken to a habitable island. Private, I don't know. In previous posts, Eno said a group of 4 teenagers will discover ancient ruins on February 6th. A device will open a wormhole to other galaxies. Hey, February 6th is coming up.
It is.
Yeah,
3,
don't
4
put
days.
money on that. If you're a Vegas person, don't put money on that one. And in May, a 750-foot mega tsunami will hit California, affecting San Francisco. Well, I hope that comes true. Visitors brush off the bizarre claims and said, I don't like San Francisco. Previous predictions
Oh,
didn't
I love
back
San
up. One
Francisco.
said
I
about
love San
10
Francisco
people
too.
getting superpowers. That did not happen. Superpower. What about this big meteor that's supposed to hit the Earth? I can't take this. Amanda, roll that video.
The presence of aliens has been a widely debated topic. Some questions like whether they exist or not, whether they are watching us, are they on Earth, have been on all of our minds. According to one self-proclaimed time traveler, the aliens will land on Earth on December 8th. A TikTok user, Eno Alaric, who is also a self-proclaimed time traveler, posted a video with the caption, "Attention, yes, I am a real time traveler from the year 2671. Remember these 5 dates to come." The self-proclaimed time traveler shared 5 predictions on the social media platform. The most attention-grabbing one said that humans could interact with aliens in December this year. According to him, aliens may land on the Earth in a giant meteor on December 8th. He also predicted that the west coast of the U.S. would be faced with a 750 feet mega tsunami in March 2023. The man claims to be from the year 2671. In addition to this alien landing, Alaric also predicted many other things. He also speculated 4 other events that supposedly take place in the next 6 months, the first of which is likely to take place on November 30th. He stated that on that day, a new planet that imitates the Earth would be discovered by the James Webb Telescope. After that, the alien interaction will happen on December 8th. The third event would take place on February 6th, 2023, where a group of teenagers will discover a device to open a wormhole to other galaxies. In the month of March next year, Alaric predicts the discovery of an ancient species in the Mariana Trench. Meanwhile, the self-proclaimed time traveler has made predictions in the past.
Why did you
They
bring us
never
such
come true.
bad news? That's horrible.
Listen, I don't make the news. I just report it.
I just
Anyway,
laugh at it.
Are we gonna be Philly Mayon for a bunch of aliens, Tara?
Oh my gosh. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't have much confidence in his predictions for some reason. I've never met the gentleman, but I don't feel it. I'm not feeling that for
I
some
wouldn't
reason.
exactly put it on my.
I was feeling so
top 10
positive
list.
about this year.
I know.
It really was.
Oh,
Stay that way.
People in
Yeah.
oh,
California.
if you think
My
that was a
gosh.
baby, wait till you hear this story. This is why I have very little faith in the human race sometimes. All right, you ready
Okay,
for this
yep.
story number 2? I love this. I really do
Okay.
love this story. Man claims aliens gave him pancakes after UFO
Oh.
landed in his back garden.
I've
Chicken
heard this.
farmer Joel Simpleton, or I should say
Oh
Simpleton,
my gosh.
he was
like this
visited by
case.
aliens at his farm in Eagle River, Wisconsin, New York, and they offered him a parting gift of a stack of 4 pancakes. Oh, baby.
Oh,
You
I
may
love it.
think your pancakes are out of this world, but one man claims to have served up the real deal. Chicken farmer Joel Simpleton claimed that he was visited by aliens at around 11 a.m. on April 18th of 1961, and that they
Oh.
served him some intergalactic pancakes. Mr. Simulton, I didn't want to get my guests all riled up, who was 60 at the time of the alleged encounter, was visited by his farm in Eagle River, Wisconsin, U.S., by an object that he said landed in his garden. He recalled hearing knobby tires on wet pavement and went to go investigate. This is the first time. Maybe they had car trouble or something. The aliens came down. I don't know. He recalled hearing knobby tires. Okay, we went over that. And went to go investigate. He saw a metallic UFO object, which he described as appearing like 2 reverse bowls with an exhaust pipes at the edge. Did you have that pancake? Amanda, put up that pancake he had in his hand.
I like this case. I think
Yeah.
I
Look
find
at
this guy
this
pretty
thing.
credible.
It looks like a
hanging on
potato
to it.
chip. Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, I think
That's
Frito Lay's
old.
got
It's
the idea
decades.
from that. I don't know.
And there's no salt in that, from what I understand, too.
Yeah,
The-
maybe salt,
the analysis
maybe no,
of it,
I
there
don't
was
know
no
what
salt.
was it. First of all, I would say thank you very much, but no thanks. Anyways, Mr.
Toast with butter.
Simulton said the object did not touch the ground, and that after he opened a gate on its side, he was met by 3 aliens who had a height of 1.5 meters, who wore black and navy blue clothing with turtleneck shirts and helmets. Mr. Simulton told the press at the time that the crew
Interesting.
seemed to be of Italian descent. I'm an alien! I'm Italian descent!
I'm an alien.
Why did he bring
That means
pancakes
I'm
in?
not
He
gonna
should have
get
brought
blown up 'cause
pasta.
I can
Pasta
turn around.
pancakes.
Yes.
I could tell those hostile aliens, I'm one of
Started to
you. Okay.
Oh my
And
gosh. I
about
wonder-
25 or
buttermilk?
30 years, one of the occupants gave the witness a metallic jar with 2 handles, indicating with gestures that he needed water for drinking. Holding the jar to his mouth, as a good host, Mr. Simulton agreed to the request and went into the house to fill the water jug. You travel light years to come to Earth and you forget to bring the water. How
Be
about that?
thirsty by the time you get here.
Yeah, well, you would think
Mhm.
that you have a drinking fountain or something. Anyway, which he recalled as weighing a little more than an aluminum. An Air Force report of the incident states, looking into the saucer, he saw a man cooking of some kind of flameless cooking appliance. The chef, who had red stripes on his pants, gave Simulton 4 hot cookies of 7.5 centimeters in diameter with small holes And like pancakes themselves, the evidence stacks up. Astronomer J. Allen Hynek, J. Allen Hynek must have been drunk to go on this one, was dispatched to the U.S. Air Force to investigate following the incident. He took one of the pancakes away for government analysis at the Air Force Technical Intelligence Center. They found them to be made of flour, sugar, and grease. Amanda, we got a video of this. Amanda, roll that video.
1961, something incredible happened in Eagle River, Wisconsin, USA. A farmer named Joe Simonton claimed he was given food by aliens according to the statements he gave to the U.S. Air Force investigators. Mr. Simonton, who was 60 at the time, had worked all morning tending to his farm, then returned home for lunch at approximately 11 a.m. He was resting and waiting for his lunch to be ready when he heard the sounds of, and this is his own words, knobby tires on wet pavement. This prompted him to go out to investigate. Out in his yard, Mr. Simonton witnessed something unearthly. He saw a metallic UFO-like object descend into his yard. He described the shape of the craft as appearing like two reversed bowls with exhaust pipes on its edge. He estimated the size of the craft to be 6 to 8 feet in diameter and 12 feet tall. He also specifically stated that the craft was not touching the ground. It was hovering in mid-air. Normal reactions by most people would have been to first run, then call the authorities, but Mr. Simonton was not deterred by this extraordinary event. He walked closer to it, and he says an opening had appeared on the craft. A gate had opened, and he could see 3 beings present inside. The appearance of these beings was nothing like the aliens described by those who claim to have been abducted. The little green man and the grays are normally how abductees describe the aliens they had witnessed. Mr. Simonton stated that the aliens inside the craft looked very similar to us. He said that the crew looked as though they could be of Italian descent and about 25 or 30 years old. They were wearing dark blue uniforms and had helmets on as well. The aliens were estimated to be about 4 feet 9 inches tall. They were dark-haired, dark-eyed, and dark-skinned. Standing in front of the craft, Mr. Simonton just stood there dumbfounded and not knowing what to do next when one of the aliens showed him a metallic jar with 2 handles, then gestured needing water for drinking, holding the jar to his mouth. Mr. Simonton agreed to the request as a show of goodwill and took the jug with him to the house. He recalls the jug weighing a little more than aluminum as he carried that back to his home. He stated that he filled it with water and returned to the craft promptly. Back at the craft, he walked closer this time to not only hand the jug, but also to have a closer look of the interior. He said one of the crew inside seemed to be cooking something on top of a flameless cooking appliance. Curious of what they were cooking, Mr. Simonton gestured to the aliens that he wanted a taste as well. The alien who was cooking had a red stripe running along the side of his pants. He grabbed what looked like cookies, 4 of them, then handed them to Mr. Simonton. The cookies, for lack of better words, they were about 3 inches in length with lots of holes in them, and they were flat like a pancake. They also felt hard in his hand, and some parts of them were dark brown, as though they were overcooked.
Well, he stuck to his story this whole time. I mean, and he still has the evidence.
They're not Italian aliens because they wouldn't be cooking pancakes. They'd be cooking something like scungili or lasagna or, something like that, chicken fricassee. You're not going to have
making
pancakes.
Making me hungry. Interesting stories, Chris.
Come, I'm gonna join with them. Hey, I'm one of you guys now.
A lot of food for thought here, right, Tara? A lot of food for thought.
Oh, very clever.
Very clever. Thank you, Chris, for that entertaining news.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to fire the person who gets me the stories.
Oh my goodness. All right, real quick. I have a case of the week this week. It's a quick one. It's case number 126320. It is a category 1 case. You know me, I love those cat 1 cases. It's out of Atlanta, Georgia. It occurred October 29th, 2022, 7:09 a.m. in the morning, and it was closed as an unknown UAV. And the witness, it was just a really short. They basically said, lights in the sky, and I have a video. So there's 3 short videos we're going to run, and then I screenshotted some of the frames in the video, and we'll take a look at the photos, and then we will discuss. So Amanda, if you want to roll video 1, please. All right, and video 2. Oh no, I guess there's only 2 videos. So yeah, this is the second. I took the second one out because it was a little blurry. So yeah, there's only 2 videos. All right, and now the screenshots. So there's shot number 1, 2, and the next one. There we go. That one's kind of similar there. And then I think, the one with the green light. So those lights on the bottom changed. What do you guys think, Tara?
Well, it doesn't seem like it's a helicopter, but it could be a helicopter with something fitted to it or something military, perhaps. But strange.
Yeah.
Very strange.
What do you think, Chris?
Well, the red and green collision lights make me a little suspicious because you could definitely see the red and green collision lights, but they're awful close. So I think I'm going to have to agree with Tara. I think it's something military. Could be a drone.
And it's right over the Capitol. I mean, it's pretty large. So if it was a drone, it'd have to be pretty large. But I'm thinking there's so much traffic going by, and it's right over the Capitol of Atlanta. First of all, why didn't we get more reports? So I'm kind of leaning towards that too, not to go against what our investigator concluded, but I would like to see this case get a little bit more attention and looked at. Maybe send these videos off and look at them more closely. So anyway, I thought it was interesting, and that's a case that actually made the journal. So I typically don't pull cases out of the journal, but I did in this case. So I thought it was interesting.
One thing I would ask is if the Capitol, that area is a no-fly area, like just, the Capitol, the White House and stuff like that. All that area is no-fly. Now, if something military comes in there, I mean, that's true. That's good forbidden. Point. There should have been some kind of response. So I would look into deeper to see if that's in 1, a no-fly zone, and 2, if any response was taken to it. That would make me more suspicious.
Right. Good point. So are we ready to bring in our special guest?
Oh, yeah, please. Let's do. Awesome.
All right, let's do it. I'm so excited. So Nancy Tertre is the skeptical psychic. Nancy believes in fully activating all types of intelligence within us: intuition, reason, imagination, heart, mind, soul, and spirit. I believe that too. She is a fully trained psychic detective, spiritual medium, remote viewer, medical intuitive, energy healer, ufologist, teacher, and lecturer. She offers private readings to an international clientele and is the author of several books, including Psychic Intuition, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know, to Ask But Were Afraid to Know, and How to Talk to an Alien. She is trained and certified in intuitive gaslit psychotherapy. There we go. She is the former host of her own CBS radio show called Hot Leads, Cold Cases, and was a regular guest on a California news station giving predictions about the future. We'll have to ask her about that news story. She is a psychokinesis practitioner who has worked with American scientists and trained in Russia. Nancy is co-director of the Institute for Exoconsciousness A frequent media guest, Nancy has appeared on many podcasts, broadcast radio, TV shows, and independent films. She teaches regular TSP remote viewing courses, as well as psychic development and mediumship, and offers private readings. She is also a corporate attorney, former New Jersey local government official, environmental activist, and former owner of a healthcare industry newspaper, a nursing home, a porcelain factory in France, and a printing company. Her websites are theskepticalpsychic.com and talkalien.com. My goodness, what a resume she has.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Nancy, welcome to the show. My goodness, woman.
Thank you.
What
the
so nice
heck?
to have you on. Yeah,
Thank you
there's
so much.
so many avenues we could go down here. And I kind of mentioned right before the show that I love kind of steering away a little bit from the nuts and bolts into the intuitive side of ufology. And I would just kind of really like to start off, how you got started in ufology. Did you have an experience? What kind of set you on this path?
First, okay, so one thing, just real quick, because otherwise people are going to think I'm sort of a nut job. What I'm trained in, okay, for more than 20 years is intuitive Gestalt psychotherapy. So it's not gaslit, and it's not gas.
Sorry.
So nobody's getting gaslit, okay? I just want to be clear on that.
I was going to say, that seems a little hostile there yourself, Nancy.
It's just cute.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. So the second thing I want to tell you is I notice Katie, in your background, you have a really nice fire going. You got some nice pillows.
Oh, we have
Cute.
Soul Sisters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, same one. So yeah.
And then we have a bunch more pillows because of Tara. She found all those other pillows. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I decide? Those are great. My bad. Oh my goodness. So how did you get started in ufology? Did you have a personal experience?
Yeah, I did. I got into, this is not I didn't start out any of this way. And I sort of started out slowly by working my way through a process of, studying intuition, then, studying psychic stuff and training in it. And then getting into for whatever reason, I didn't think that psychic stuff was related to ghosts or spirits or mediumship stuff. And then I did many, many paranormal investigations with different paranormal groups. But I still didn't think that any of that had anything to do with this UFO stuff. And yeah, I did. I had a major experience, which I think it triggered off what I think may have been in the past, and then also smaller events that have sort of continued into the future.
Right.
So yeah.
I agree. It took me a lot of years to connect all these different phenomena, and I tend to compartmentalize those. So like you, it takes a while to make those connections. And I think eventually, if you stay in this field long enough, you come to that conclusion, that all these things are intertwined in some way. So yeah,
they are. For sure. I mean, now I know that. It seems like sort of like that, oh, duh kind of moment. But yeah, they're all connected. And even, if you follow any of the Skinwalker Ranch stuff and, stuff that I've known for a long time now, which is that if you have some type of a contact experience, usually you've got paranormal experience going on for a while afterwards.
True.
And I don't know why that is. I don't know if there's something that gets ripped in terms of the fabric of, space-time. Something happens, and there's an opening for interdimensional kind of activity.
Oh, it's amazing. Well, Nancy, do you think that's what's going on with all this psychic, our intuition, we hear things, we intuit things, and how do you think that is all connected with what's going on?
I'm not sure I understand exactly what you mean.
Well, tell us that. Okay, I guess talk about your book, Psychic Intuition. Everything you wanted to ask, but were afraid to know. What started you on that path, and what can you share with us about that?
Yeah, just real, basic stuff. I'm a real basic, type of person. I went in thinking I was just going to write a book about the psychology of intuition, but nobody wanted to talk about it because I think if they did, they would, psychologists or therapists, whatever, they're used to being in control of what they call a dyad, which is, the therapist-patient relationship. If you start giving credit to intuition, all of a sudden you're out of control. You're no longer the authority being able to tell the client or the patient, what are the best pathways and, any of that. And all of a sudden you may have to start relying on your own intuition, which you don't want to do because you want to be seen as somebody who's, an authority and logical and, willing or has the ability to give better advice. Intuition just throws that right out the window. So anyway, so nobody was doing that. And then I studied a bunch of neuroscience, and then I started talking to, psychics and mediums and medical intuitives and all those kind of people. And then I ended up training as a psychic detective with a well-known psychic detective for about close to a decade.
Gosh, how cool.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, Nancy, I was an absolute skeptic about psychic abilities until I actually saw it work. I mean, I had a friend who he was a police officer, tried to rescue a couple of people, fell into a gorge and we couldn't find him, fell into the river, and we took 3 days trying to find him. And I was part of that search team. And somebody said, well, let's get this guy by the name of Phil Jordan, a psychic. It's not far away. And he's, Phil?
Yeah.
All right. We become friends, actually. And the thing was, Phil, I went, what, this is nuts. Why are we getting a psychic? We need to, find our friend. But they did bring Phil. And Phil walked the entire, I will give him credit. I was huffing and puffing. And Phil walked the entire trail, which is about 4 miles down and 4 miles up. And he walked it down and he walked it back, and he stopped at a spot and he says, I see flowers floating around this pool. I see flowers floating. And we said, well, we checked that pool. We sent divers down. He says, nah, something's there. A day later, we had a memorial for him, and we were standing on a bridge miles away. We threw a reef in the water for Billy Chapin, and you can check his name, Billy Chapin. That reef went right to that pool and hovered in that pool. And the firemen went down with a pole and found Billy Chapin underneath an underwater rock that he was caught on. And that blew my mind. And there's a little bit more to the story, if I could say it. So anyways, I lost my wallet. I had to go down and recover Billy. And I was in water. I was soaked and everything. And I gave my wallet to a friend. And so I forgot who I gave my wallet to and had my shield, my ID, everything into it. So I get a call before I go to work and say, hey, Chris, I got your wallet. And, what I did was I went to Phil Jordan. Somebody says, why don't you ask Phil Jordan where your wallet is? So I asked him. He says, don't worry about it, Chris. You're going to get it tonight. I said, no, Phil, I want to know where my wallet is. And he looks at me and he goes, listen, you're going to get your wallet tonight. I go, I don't want to hear that. Where's my wallet? And he goes, Chris, some guy short with a black hair and a mustache is going to walk up to you and hand you your wallet. Okay. Yeah, says, yeah, right. Okay. So anyways, I get a call from this 6-foot guy who's got blonde hair. Says, Chris, I got your wallet. Come on, when you come in the station, I'll give it to you. So I go in there and I say, hey, where's Buddy Humble? I need to get my wallet. Buddy's gone. He had to leave. I don't know anything about your wallet. So I go to roll call, get my patrol car. I'm out in there, and my sergeant calls me and says, Chris, I got your wallet. I says, all right, Kurt, do me a favor. Bring it directly to me, because he's nowhere short, has no black hair, does not have a mustache. I kid you not. We're going like this, car to car. He stops. This guy comes out, talks to him through the window. He drives away. A man, another police officer who's short, black hair, and a mustache comes up and hands me my wallet. They heard me screaming blocks away. So I'm telling you, folks, if you're listening to this and you're a skeptic, this stuff is real. These people know what they're talking about.
That is incredible.
So Nancy, you worked with the police department for a while too on some cases. Can you tell us or share with us any of your experiences with that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done that now for a while. I've worked more recently with victims' families on cases, around the world. But yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, the kind of thing that Chris is talking about is, I mean, that's just the way this stuff works. And I feel Jordan is amazing at what he does. For example, I got, and I think well, no, did I mention that? Well, anyway, I mean, there were a few things. Like I had been asked to try and figure out where a woman had gone missing. I think it was a serial essentially who was hanging out on Staten Island, and so we got driven actually in one of the police vans over to where this guy was working to see if it sort of rang any bells or anything, and that was a very unpleasant experience, let me say, because I knew this guy had probably, well, I was quite sure. I mean, he killed this young woman as well as a few other people. And so, we were asked, where should they look for the body, essentially. And I had only ever been to Staten Island, I think at that point, maybe once in my life. I didn't know Staten Island. I didn't know the neighborhood, the land, nothing. Anyway, so I looked at this, I just looked at a map. I got drawn to a very particular, and long story short, no, they did not find the body, but it was the only place where the police had been excavating. And in the intervening years, because this was it was a cold case, they had built up this series of like high-rise apartments over that exact property.
Oh my gosh. Nancy, when you are experiencing all this, do you need to be at the spot or do you have visions or do you see things? What is your experience like?
Yeah, but that's exactly why I teach something called remote viewing. And the type of remote viewing that I teach is different from the classical types, that were done by the Stanford Research Institute and mostly done at the Army's Stargate program. It's different because I allow some front loading, and I teach my students how to deal with some front loading. Meaning when you talk about being front loaded, it means it's not 100% blind target. You're not getting like a set of numbers that represent a location or an event or something. You're getting maybe a little bit of information about the tasker, the person who's trying to find whatever this mystery is looking for. But you can get, I teach my students how to find information because we all have it. We just get rid of it most of the time because we think it's junk in our brain. We think it's just like chatter. It doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't seem to be connected to anything. And so we get rid of it. We don't even think about it and we never test it. So in remote viewing, what you're doing is you're pre-documenting all of your information that you've gotten before you ever talk to your client. So no, I don't need to be anywhere near the exact location. I don't have to.
That's interesting.
And nobody does. That's what's so cool about it. And then you've got the documentation showing that you got all that information before, and so you're not doing a cold reading. You're not, sort of vibing off of whoever the person is. You actually got this.
Nancy, I want to get back to intuition because I have experienced it, and I could never understand why. But you know, I've had some very dangerous cases. I've gone after murderers. I've gone after rapists, and stuff like that. And my partner and I, we would go to a door, and we would think this is just a simple routine kind of thing. And just before we put our hand on the door or something, we both felt something that says back off. And we found that there's a person with a shotgun on the other side of the door waiting for us to knock or open it. And I mean, this has happened a couple of times where we've had men with guns waiting to shoot us. And we could never figure out why neither one of us wanted to knock. I mean, we had no idea that the guy was armed. We had no idea, but explain how do you people get this intuition? I mean, I to this day can't understand it.
That's really interesting because I know that I think I might have even written this someplace, but yeah, usually I think cops and nurses have some of the best intuition of any people around.
It worked.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't explain it, but it worked.
Yeah, it does work. Yeah, because you and I don't know. I mean, that whatever that is, that's a form of precognition. And precognition is something that I've spent a lot of time trying to think about. I'm in touch with an awful lot of some of the top scientists, probably, I know in the world, on issues of consciousness. And they're working on trying to understand stuff like that. If you're talking about precognition, then you're talking about having to completely rearrange what we think of as consciousness, as and think about, well, how are we accessing information? Is it a form of like small time travel? Is it the ability of consciousness to be everywhere at all times? In which case, if you're focused on an issue, you can pick up data about whatever that focus is. Okay.
I'm telling you, I'm absolutely amazed by what you can do. I wish I understood it better because I think people actually have this. They call it like a third eye. I don't know a lot about it, but they call it like a third eye where you have that intuition. And I wish I could focus it on my wife, knowing when she's mad and when she's not mad, so I can get the hell out of the house. So I mean, that's the one thing. I lost it. During police work, I had it, but I've lost it now, and I can't tell when she comes home mad or something like that. I wish I had it so I could go hide somewhere.
I think
that's not precognition.
Okay, well,
I think Nancy would agree. I mean, for our listeners out there, it's like when you walk into a room, sometimes you get that overwhelming sensation. And I'll never forget, I was in high school and going up the stairs. And, when you're a teenager, the last thing you want to do is sleep in your mom's room. It was just me and my mom at the house. And I had just broken up with a boyfriend. Something stopped me cold dead on the stairs. And I said, Mom, I'm sleeping with you tonight. Well, my ex-boyfriend was hiding under my bed with a baseball bat. And it wasn't 5 minutes. We heard him running down the stairs out the front door, and we called the police.
Oh my gosh.
So to the listeners out there, I'm sure Nancy would agree, like, trust that intuition, trust it, because you need to listen to it. It's so important. But Nancy, I had a quick question. I know we only have maybe 5 minutes or 4 minutes to the break, and maybe it's something we can dive more into after the break. But have you ever looked into the disassociation and the psychology of when we leave our bodies, or we astral travel, or we remote view, that we tap into perhaps something else? And once we're connected into that, it sort of always stays with us. Have you found that to be the case?
Well, I got to tell you that I was always very confused about out-of-body travel because as far as I knew, I never did it. So I actually, at one point, I had asked my mentor, who was Ingo Swann, who essentially he developed the remote viewing for the, with the Hal Puthoff and Russell Targ at the Stanford Research Institute. Anyway, and I'd had a dream where I fly a lot in my dreams, and I still do it. And I remember reading like a long time ago that if you fly in your dream, it's a sign of sexual immaturity. So apparently I'm still really sexually immature because I'm flying all the time.
I never heard that one before.
Neither.
Then I'm taking a rocket ship to the moon. I can tell you that.
But
no wonder why. I always thought it was being abducted. Maybe these dreams, fly. Never mind. Anyway.
Yeah. Move on.
Well, yeah.
So do you notice?
I don't know because anyway, I told him I had this dream where I was flying through New York City. I flew through several of the tall buildings. Went through the bricks and the walls and the windows and everything.
Oh, wow.
In order to, because I was trying to get in touch with him in my dream, and I said, so people. I mean, is that like? Do people think that's out of body? Because to me, that's like I'm just having a dream. And he said yes. Now I've talked to a whole bunch of people who've had all different degrees of intensity of out of body. There were also big arguments going on, so philosophical in the remote viewing world, because some people thought you traveled to the place, and some people saw it as something more like a clairvoyance, or something, where you sort of stay where you are. And nobody has the answers to that. I don't know.
Right.
People have told me they've seen me on all kinds of craft. Well, I don't have any recollection of ever having been on a craft. I've never been abducted to my knowledge.
Right.
So
I wonder if it's connected to entanglement on some level. And I think that's something we can explore perhaps after the break, is that, that entanglement and how maybe perhaps that works as far as remote viewing and that, because I certainly would like to hear more about, your remote viewing practices and how we can just really just begin to learn how to do that. But right now it's break time, so we will discuss this more on the other side of the break. See you in a few minutes.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
MUFON is the voice of thousands of like-minded people who want to see change. We speak up against UFO secrecy. We engage governments and agencies around the world on the topic. We share information with the public through our journal, website, newsletters, social media, and even our own TV channel. When you join MUFON, you add your voice to the cause. Few things are more important in our time than understanding the UFO question. Join MUFON. Find your friends.
Are you looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small esoteric getaways are limited and do fill fast. So, go to MysteriousAdventureTours.com and book your trip soon.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, You are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
All right, welcome back. So on the topic of entanglement, and this might be a good segue into communicating with ETs and speaking with aliens, when we are entangled and connected into something else that's greater than us, maybe the Akashic records, or, different people have different views of what it is we're tapping into, but can we communicate with aliens at that point? And how do we trust who we're talking to?
Oh,
I'm always
You're
worried. I'm
put on
being
the
tricked.
spot.
I know. Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah, who are you?
who are we talking to?
Mhm.
I think you should be worried
Yeah.
because you don't know who you're talking to. I'm watching this really interesting, this was recommended to me by one of my physicist friends who suggested that I watch this series that just started. It's called the Peripheral, I think. And essentially it's sort of like the Matrix on steroids. And given what's happening in the world right now with AI, and not even to mention, combined with AI, but when I'm seeing what's happening, particularly with this chat, it was a chat GPT or GTP, whichever one it is. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. If you can explain, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's all the rage because they've just sort of released it. It's the ability for AI to create entire articles, let's say, for news media. Kids are now using it to write perfect essays.
Yes, I have heard of that. Yeah.
No, this is not
yeah.
good.
No, it's not good. And in fact, I've just discovered that you probably have heard of Alfred Weber, who does exopolitics.
Mm-hmm.
He's announced that he's using this platform to not only describe all of his upcoming courses in things like psychic ability, but also to design the courses. So now we have AI teaching humans psychic.
Yeah.
So I think that, at least for me, that is a huge red flag. I co-direct with Rebecca Hardcastle-Wright, the Institute for Exoconsciousness. And what we've been working on for years now is trying to figure out ways to preserve human consciousness, because we are in a very critical point in time where if you look at I've been posting some stuff about very current robotics or robots that have now become so sophisticated. They seem to have figured out, I think you have I forget what it is. It's like 10,000 microfacial muscle movements in your face. Well, they seem to have figured out most of them. They are now creating things that you would say to yourself, oh, that's a very smart person. That's an intelligent, full kind, whatever. And it no longer looks like a robot. It's completely almost indistinguishable from us. So you combine that with the fact that now we don't know what we can trust in terms of we read, we see, videos, the news. It is becoming completely AI generated. So how do you protect consciousness against that?
Yeah, that's scary. And perhaps, Nancy, do you believe, this is just a quick follow-up question, that some of these ETs that have been visiting our Earth, and do you think perhaps they've lost some of our humanity and went the way of AI and maybe are looking to get some of that back? I mean, to me, this seems like a dangerous path to go down.
That's sort of, I mean, that's the whole theory or behind the Greys being these sort of, androids or whatever that from us from the future coming back because they've lost their, ability to reproduce or to have emotions or, that kind of thing. So, and if I understand what's happening with research into time travel now, particularly on the quantum level, then you start to understand that we're not too far away from that either. So, is that, that's not crazy thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll intervene.
Well, I could tell you that what I've seen that where students are using AI to write perfect papers for the thesis and everything. And I think we're losing consciousness. We're losing the ability to think for ourselves by allowing AI. I don't like AI. I'm going to tell you, I think there's some good in it that you could, as long as you kind of strict it to a certain type of thing, you don't want to expand because it makes us lazy. All these things that you talk about, Nancy, takes effort to increase your thought patterns, to increase your mind. And if we get too far into AI, our minds become lazy and we allow this artificial intelligence to take over with us. But my question to you is, with the way it's going, how do we stop it? How do you feel as a person who has developed your mind that we stop this trend that we're going to? Because it's being pushed into the defense, into medical, into the colleges. And, we're not going to have good doctors down the road. We're not going to have good lawyers down the road. We're not going to have people who can think and progress. What is your thought on how we stop this?
I literally was talking to some physicists about that this morning.
Wow.
And
see, I was intuitive to ask that question.
There you go.
There's
your sign. There's your sign. Natural.
I think you're 100% right. I think that we have, I've got kids in their 20s. Okay. And and there's a difference between like how I grew up and how they're growing up.
Oh yeah.
And, it's huge. Yeah. So they're living somewhat in a bit of a sort of a matrix already, or, they're because they get sucked into it. That's entertainment. We become a society of being entertained, so we become passive. We don't think, we don't read, we don't push our psychic abilities, which, by the way, if we're going to have figure out what's AI, what's real, what's robotic, what's real, then we better really pay attention to our powers of discernment. And you don't get to do that. When I teach my TSP remote viewing courses, I tell all my students right from the get-go, I said, look, this is going to be an incredibly intensive course. I'm going to work you really hard. And I do. And some people can sort of flow with it immediately. Some of them get terrified. Most of them have always managed to make it through the course, and they usually appreciate it by the end because they didn't know when they started out. First of all, they had those capabilities. And they didn't know they'd have to work so hard if they're going to try and really, get them to work right. One of my, the accuracy that you have through your power of discernment will allow you to know the truth. And if we let that go, which I am very worried that we're going to let it go because people are attracted by the money. Guys in particular, I would say, no offense, Chris, are particularly attracted by.
None taken.
Okay, by the it's exotic. I mean, the mechanics, the technology is amazing. It's truly amazing, but they're not thinking there's no thought given really to the ethics on what should be developed, how should it be developed. I mean, they're just kind of moving forward because that's where the money is, and that's fun stuff, and it's high prestige. So how do you stop that?
Yeah, so true. So true.
I don't think people wanted to stop. I think they want to dumb down society. I honestly do, because I'm just looking at your Facebook page at the incredible ability that looking at these robots that you've posted, and they're saying, holy cow. I mean, that thing, it moves like a human. It acts like a human. I mean, so where do you get, where's the separation? Are they going to do my laundry, or are they going to think for me, going to feed me? I mean, where does this all end? I'm very scared about 20 years from now. People think it's going to be great. I disagree. I think that we're coming to a place where civilization, if we don't start getting smart and start doing things for ourselves, that it's going to be end. And maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just nuts. I don't know.
I happen to agree with you, and I'm normally a pessimist, but I am also very, very worried about it, because the only way to reverse that is to convince people that they should do hard work versus no work, and that they should focus on restraint versus give me more, more, more. So you're asking people to do two things, hard work and restraint, which nobody wants to do.
Yeah, but it's necessary.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Well, Nancy, you were talking about discernment, and, we all have all these thoughts, but I can hear voices sometimes, and I have conversations in my head, and sometimes I hear a lot of people. I hear a lot of laughter, voices, and I hear sometimes if I'm having conversations, I know it sounds crazy, but if I'm having conversations, I hear 2 or 3 things at once, and I get like 3 answers, but I understand them all immediately. And they, there's some depth to that. And, our brain is capable of doing multiple things. It's kind of like this AI stuff. And so is it kind of similar? I don't know. There's some kind of connection there. It just makes me think about, is that, are we all able to tap into something like this? And is AI mimicking us, really?
Well, it depends. I mean, that's why this series that I'm watching is so interesting, because it really kind of raises the question, are we already, let's say, a product? Or are we trying to deal with a product? Because I don't know what we are. Yeah, we have these tremendous capabilities. In fact, I did a presentation for Jen Stein's, Philadelphia MUFON, and I did it on the issue of downloads. And downloads, in a sense, I mean, they can be heard as voices. They can be experienced a whole bunch of different ways. In fact, what I did is I sort of broke down all the different ways that humans receive information, and it's kind of different for everybody.
How do you discern your own voice from another voice? I mean, back in the day, you'd be institutionalized if you said you're hearing voices in your head. I mean, I have a half brother who was diagnosed schizophrenic, and they later reversed that. But like literally back in the 60s, if you said you were hearing voices, they would put you away. So how do you discern that from, perhaps being tapped into something and your own voice? I mean, how do you do that?
Well, first of all, I don't, the military's already got what they call synthetic telepathy.
Oh.
So they can shoot a voice into your head, and it's going to be coming from inside your head.
Oh, my goodness.
And,
oh, wow. That's scary.
They use acoustic waves or microwaves for that, don't they, Nancy? Yeah, I've heard of that study.
I don't know.
Okay.
Not
interesting.
The military is probably 100 years more advanced than what we know with some of the projects that they've been doing. I mean, Pandora was the beginning of that. Project Pandora was the work on neurological things. They've had it in the Tower building where Alfred Loomis actually started it way back in the early 30s and 40s. So, I mean, by now they progressed to where, you think that it's something. Anyways, I want to get back on to talking to aliens. Now, aliens usually communicate with abductees telepathically. And so if we want to talk to an alien, it seems to me like most abductees have been downloaded with something that gives them a better intuition or psychic power. A lot of the abductees I have talked to says, Chris, after my abduction, I've become more aware of my surroundings, more aware of things, and I've got a greater psychic ability to understand things are going to happen. Nancy, what's your thought about that?
Right. And yes, of course. I mean, I've heard that too. And I've seen people get data that there's no way to verify it. Okay, but it's interesting. And then I've seen people get data that is immediately verifiable. That's kind of extraordinary. I think, well, actually, I want to read you a thing because I was trying to figure out how much could we actually intake. And by the way, you could say the same thing about near-death experiences. People who've had near-death experiences usually come back very psychic, very tuned in with, the importance of certain things about being alive and, loving humanity and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's restricted just to an abduction experience, but I think that that's part of understanding that we are part of something much bigger than, just ourselves.
Right.
And there are principles that are of interconnectedness that are associated with that, which have to be understood. No,
that pretty much explains it. What were you going to tell us?
Yeah, it was just, I did this thing where, so because I was thinking about downloads and then trying to, because some people can remember them, some people can't. But essentially what I was trying to figure out was, if you have if downloads are, let's say they're holographic, that you can put at least on what they call this holographic versatile disk, 4,000 gigabytes of data. All right. And if you had 625 downloads in your life, that would be the equivalent of about 2.5 gigabytes. The maximum brain memory storage capacity is exactly that, 2.5 gigabytes.
Wow.
So what's interesting, I mean, I don't know if anybody's had that many downloads, but maybe, I think some people claim to have had, hundreds of them. What's happening with the rest of their brain? Where's that going? Where's that memory storage capacity going?
Oh, interesting.
What do you think I just want to ask this one follow-up question. What do you think their purpose is with them downloading people? Because some of the people that I have talked to, they start getting dreams of Holocaust, nuclear war, some very terrible things. Do you think that they're trying to give us a message, or is there a pattern, or what is your experience that you think is going on?
Well, first of all, I got to, when you were talking in the introduction about, wasn't it that TikTok guy, Well, I just got told that there was another person named Harmony or something like that. Harmony, who made exactly the same predictions on TikTok.
Oh, really?
Now,
so what you're trying to tell me is they ought to get 10 gallons of great ice cream in, because this is going to be it, huh?
Well, either that or somebody is messing with all of us and pretending to be several different people and creating the equivalent of a voice that goes viral over TikTok and is picked up by all the British newspapers. And are we supposed to be listening to that? yes, they're talking about global catastrophes. But by the way, I mean, so did Edgar Casey. I had two of my closest friends when I was in college. Their mother was considered to be the top UFO channeler in the world at the time. And she, of course, was very sort of tapped into all those catastrophe scenarios and California dropping off, into the Pacific and flooding everywhere and all that kind of stuff. And so she ended up moving on purpose into, I think it was like foothills in West Virginia someplace, so that, she didn't build an ark, but, she was at least going to be up in the hills. And she passed away about a decade ago. And it didn't happen. Now, and that was Edgar Casey's thing. Now, the problem, and I've tried to explain this, when you're psychic, you can get incredibly accurate information, but the hardest thing for any psychic to get is the time frame. So do I believe that all that stuff is down the pike? Unfortunately, yes, I do. But do I have the time frame on it? No, I don't.
Do you think we're going to have an alien invasion? Because I'm going to turn you over to Katie after, because if you frightened the hell out of me out of that one, I mean, do you actually think that we're going to have some?
Yeah, I mean, don't you think it's inevitable? I mean, really? Not that I listen, I also think that there are all kinds of global agendas, all right, that are promoting that concept, obviously, like, the Project Bluebeam stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it just seems, realistic to me that of course. I mean, we already have been, we just haven't been invaded. We've been, tiptoed around in a way that we're tiptoeing around the moon and Mars, and now we're moving on to, I think, Saturn. I mean, it's so why is that so surprising?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard when you get into trying to figure out motives in that. And I wanted to ask you, Nancy, too, how does lucid dreaming play into all of these things? Because I've talked to so many abductees, contactees that say they interact with their dreams and lucid dream. And do you think that affects how we can communicate with aliens? And is that part of the way to, speak with an aliens, I guess? Can you do it that way? And how do we begin to do that?
So that was actually when I finally decided to write that book, How to Talk to an Alien. By a couple of it was triggered off by the experience of having had a sighting. It was a football field sized craft that was only my daughter and I witnessed it after we left a movie theater. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And there was an alien. I believe it was an alien, an ET, whatever, who would interrupt our phone calls for over a year and a half. Whenever she and I would talk on the phone, we wouldn't be able to hear each other. It would start speaking. We could only hear it. And it spoke in some language that I didn't know what it was.
Oh, wow.
And it had a very deep, weird electronic sounding type of probably a male voice. And then when it was done, and one time it said my daughter's name, it would hang up both of us simultaneously. And then we wouldn't be able to call each other back for usually 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh, interesting.
So, and that happened for, as I say, over a year and a half. Eventually, one night I got woken up because I heard that voice telepathically. First time I ever heard it telepathically. And then I told my daughter the next day. She said, well, that's funny because yesterday I decided for the first time in, I don't know, like 2-3 years after the voices had stopped, she had decided to leave a message for a friend of hers on the phone, and on the answering machine, the voice or the voice, she heard it. So it coincided exactly. So that was the first thing that sort of triggered off like, well, okay, I'm pretty good at language. I understand a bunch of languages. I had no idea what this whatever was speaking. I had no idea. And it didn't, well, anyway, I had a lucid dream, and I've been a lucid dreamer since I was very young. And I was driving in my car to pick up a friend of mine who lived in my town in New Jersey. And I got right in front of her house, and I'm waiting for her to come outside, and the passenger door opens, and this reptilian jumps in, and so I thought, oh no, that can't be good. But I knew, I looked at it, it looked at me. By the time I could have jumped out, opened my car door and jumped out, it would have been too late. And besides, when we looked at each other, our gazes locked. It was, I could feel it like a pressure on the top of my head.
Oh.
And I couldn't get out of the lock. So, and I said to myself, I was sort of, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I finally said to myself, wait a second, Nancy, you've been training for a long time to be psychic. Here's an opportunity to use this because, well, anyway, what I did is I sent, when I threw the ball back through this connected line of brainwaves or whatever it was, and broke the connection, got out of the dream. So, and that's what triggered me into thinking, okay, well, so people who feel, there are plenty of people who have had wonderful experiences, but there are also, I know others have had terrible experiences with ET contact.
Yes.
And what I wanted to do was to explain to people how they can empower themselves. That we're not at the mercy of these so-called more intelligent or more psychic entities. We have that capacity. Some of them are actually afraid of us because of that capacity.
Can we fight back, Nancy?
I'm sorry?
Can we fight back?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, that's
so
exactly.
How do we do that?
By you develop your psychic abilities, your telepathic abilities, your clairvoyant, your doing remote viewing is one way to do it. I'm a medical intuitive. I've seen incredible, miracles. I couldn't believe that they happened. We have phenomenal abilities. We just don't use them, and we have fallen asleep at the wheel. We don't even know we have them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so true.
That is. I like to get into. Oh, go ahead, Katie.
Oh, I was just going to ask if we have the ability to manifest our realities, but that's a whole other topic, probably.
Yeah, I think we do, because, and part of that is kinesis, because it's basically the mind being able to manipulate physical matter. Well, when you see that you could do that, you understand that you can manifest. I've bent a solid steel rod in half.
Oh,
and
no way!
Yeah, and I didn't. It just melted.
Oh my God! I can't even bend a spoon.
I've
been trying. Yeah. I go like this is the only way I can bend a spoon. My God, that's amazing. And so
it's really cool stuff. It's what we have, all of us. This is not me, and I'm certainly not special in this. Anybody can do this. They have to have a willingness, and they have to have a discipline, and they have to open their mind to the possibility that it could happen. They don't have to believe it. They don't have to be gullible or idiots. They just have to open their minds, because that's the pathway.
All right, Nancy, I want to take you down a different place, but we're going to get back to that subject. Amanda's got some pictures. I want to put up one picture at a time and have you explain it. Amanda, start with picture one. What do you got there? That's a little triangle there?
Yeah. I don't know. It's I put up a blog because I had gotten a bunch of these, and I understood that it may be it's not an implant. I don't think it's an implant. I think it's maybe some type of a contact thing. And of course, I checked out to see if, so bed bug, are they spider bites? Are they, is there any way you could possibly explain it?
I don't think a spider bite comes in a perfect triangle. I don't think
so either.
Yeah, I mean the one in the middle would be that way. But let me ask you this. When you found these, when you discovered these marks, did you have a dream or something happen, within that past 24 hours that would connect it to this? Because there's got to be some kind of connection. You just don't, walk around and go, hey, there's a mark there. Something had to happen before that.
Okay, so I have a terrible memory. I can't remember names or faces. I can remember context and I can remember events, and I'm good with numbers, but I have a terrible memory in general. So, no, I have no memory of anything being associated with those marks. And by the way, that's a great question, because that's what I ask everybody who comes to me with those type of markings. And there are lots of people like that. It's kind of interesting. And if you come to me with, let's say, an isosceles triangle, I don't really buy it. If it's an equilateral triangle, yeah, I think something happened. And usually those people have some kind of a memory associated with it. I just happen to have no memory.
That's amazing.
Nancy, I have a question for you about the use of, it's the energy that you're talking about. You're an energy healer, from what I understand as well. Yeah. And so to develop our own, better develop our own psychic abilities, a lot of us have trauma in the past and we've disassociated. We learned to do that as young children. And there's a lot of things, veils, perhaps, maybe I'm saying the right word, that are in our mind that are keeping us from being present and in the present and doing things. Is it important as an energy healer to heal all that before your psychic abilities can really manifest, or do we have these regardless of what experiences we've experienced?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah,
I don't know that I've ever even thought about that. I think, well, the only thing I can sort of compare it to is that energy healing and medical intuitive work is really the only of all the things I can do. That's the only thing that was 100% natural. I didn't take training in that. And I think that, and I've always found it really hard to work on myself. I can work on others. But I have a hard time because I'm sort of within the same, if you look at it like an electrical circuit, I'm sort of within the same circuit. And my hunch, but I don't know, my hunch is that you don't have to heal yourself in order to heal others. I think what's required is a really pure desire to help another person clear their system. And you're not actually doing it. You're essentially channeling that information. I'm not one of those healers who either tries to like pull out bad energy or pump in good energy. I don't do either one of those, because I understood early on that if you try to pull out bad energy out of somebody, you're going to end up with it yourself.
Right.
That's not good. Nancy, can you see somebody and look at them and say, and the reason, because it's happened to me, can you look at somebody and say, oh my God, I see something wrong with your stomach, or I see something wrong with your lungs? And the reason I'm asking this is because when I was talking to Phil George, we were not talking about medical stuff at all. He had actually said to me, he says, hey, Chris, you better have that left shoulder to take a look at. He had no idea it was, I got a bad left shoulder from a police injury, and it's been getting progressively worse. So, but he just stopped our conversation and said, hey, Chris, you better have that left shoulder to take a look of it. You're probably going to need orthopedic surgery. Now, how in the hell he knew that, and how he know that I was probably going to go for surgery? But can you do that? Can you look at somebody and say, my God, you better go have this taken out? And have you done it?
Yes. I've done that quite a bit.
What a gift.
The first way that I'm sorry?
What a gift.
It's. I mean, just think about. I mean, if you could do that for somebody. I mean, I think that's just a gift that was given to you.
Well, I don't believe in gifts because I'm just a trained person.
Okay.
What do you think, Nancy? A few years back, pre-COVID, everything's pre and post-COVID, I had a procedure done called, I don't know, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, I know, just like I've done so many other words on this show, but artiology, where they take a picture of your eyes. What do you think of that? Because, I mean, they're saying by the way your eyes are, they can detect different illnesses or concerns in the body. Have you ever practiced that? And what do you think of that?
I ran into that a long, long time ago. And it was right in sort of early stages. There was, and I've forgotten their names. So I think it was a couple, they lived in downtown in Manhattan, and they were developing that iridology or something like that. Or I was, whether, but yeah, you look at the color in the eye, and you look at the little spots and the flecks of things and the whatever, and you can sort of, and to me, I mean, I was very interested by that. I think there may be some truth to it. I didn't study it enough to know it. To me, it sort of reminded me of palmistry.
Right.
You know, I think there's you can find truth to some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So your book here, How to Talk to an Alien. I don't know if you guys could see this. So you have examples, and doing my book with Dr. Leo Sprinkle and going through all his boxes from people around the world. He had, examples of alien writing. Can we talk a little bit about this and what you've discovered through this?
Yeah, sure. But I got to tell you a funny story about Dr. Sprinkle.
Okay, I love Leo.
So I had interviewed him a long time ago, and I found out that he did psychic readings. And I thought, gee, that's unusual. Let me try that. I don't normally ask people for psychic readings. So he said that he would record it on like one of those, they're like this big.
Right.
And so I sent him my payment. And he said, I get it in a couple of days. I wait for a month. It doesn't come. I call him up and I say, well, yeah, did you do it or what happened? And he said, oh, you're kidding. Yeah, I did it. And I put it in the mail and you should have gotten it a long time ago. I said, nope. He said, all right, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do another reading for you. So he did another reading and sent me the cassette. I got it within about 2 days. Okay. And I didn't think about it. 9 months later in the mail, I get the original.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow.
Wow.
And what did you discover from that? Was he pretty accurate? I'm just curious what he told you, what you learned from that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at it for several years, but yeah, it was very spiritual. And it was, if I recall, he had sort of gone into sort of past lives for me.
Right.
And I think there was sort of a warrior angle to that.
Oh, it's
so.
wow.
And that I have the only past life. Well, I have two that I know of that I did, and one of them, I got a whole bunch of information, wrote it all down, and then about a month later, I decided to go online because I got the name and everything, and I got the time period and the state. I knew it was a former Confederate officer in Texas by a certain name. So I looked him up. It turns out that he was like one of the original Rangers. Turns out that he did what I've done very similarly in this lifetime. He owned his own hospital. I owned a nursing home. He was a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. He was a doctor. He was a politician. Yes, I played around in politics. And I had described when he was born and when he died with accuracy. Anyway, but he was a warrior. So I think there's a warrior. I think in these times, you got to be kind of a warrior because we're up against a lot.
So true. That's so true. I know Dr. Sprinkle, I brought my daughter, Jenna. She must have only been 18 at the time, maybe 17. And we were sitting in Dr. Sprinkle's office, and he does talk about communicating. He basically channels something, and he kind of goes into a trance state and just started reading Jenna and giving her messages. And for a young girl, she was like, whoa, kind of taken back by it. But he had so many insights, and she still remembers that to this day. And it sort of helped guide her. And one of the cool things I just want to share really quick, because we're on Dr. Sprinkle, but he saw like a light, and that her destiny was this light, and she could take all these different paths to get there, but ultimately she would end up there. And that's kind of stayed with her. And I just thought that was such a cool message anyway. So the writing in your book, I find the writings very similar to some of the things I found in Dr. Sprinkle's, let's see if I could see that there.
Awesome.
Can you tell us about where you acquired these and what you've learned from these?
Mm-hmm.
Different.
If those are the ones that I think they are, those are people who I know who have had contact experiences, and pretty detailed. And I know the details of them, and had contact with apparently different races, and so they're writing in different ways. And there was a psychotherapist in Delaware, and of course now his name is escaping me, but he had essentially acquired I think it was about 100 samples of different types of alien writing, and he suggested there are 3 different categories that you have. That you've got sort of script, you've got geometric, and you've got this dot and line, and the dot and line seems to be, and that's been confirmed to me by people who would know. And it seems to be most prevalent, the dot and line version. The problem is, like anything else, is like when after Whitley Strieber released his book, that had the big gray alien head on it. All of a sudden, everybody started seeing gray. And so a problem when it comes to writing, because when I put that published that book, nobody was really talking about ET languages, and all of a sudden now everybody's talking about light languages. So I think there's a sort of chain where it gets, certain ideas get incorporated into our heads that we got to be careful of.
Yeah, that's so true.
Nancy, I kind of on that writing, I've learned Greg's shorthand when I was in high school, and I use shorthand every day, and it's a language based on sound, and everybody my whole life has said, how can you write alien? They've called it alien. And I'm wondering if there's any of these languages, if you know the context of them, are they based on sound, the strokes, the marks that are there, or do we have any knowledge of how these may have arrived?
And by the way, I think I put an example of shorthand in the book to show what that looks like, to show that is not the same as, the ET languages that at least I've seen. What great. I was, I have asked many contactees about, if they're writing languages, I've to see if they could break it down. They can write, no problem. The same way, somebody in a Pentecostal church can speak in some type of, in tongues, they don't have any problem with that. Right. They do have a problem with understanding meaning. The ones who were most tapped in can sort of get a sense of the sense of, let's say, a paragraph, but they don't have an understanding of what each symbol means, or how large or how small it is. So what I was suggesting in my book was that, if we look to languages like the Chinese characters, for example, they are holistic concepts, and it seems pretty obvious that the different type of writing involves different types of concepts and icons representing concepts. So I think they're and they're probably multi-dimensional too.
Yeah, I have a really good friend of mine. I won't mention his name, cool. But he is a prominent person in the field. And I was just visiting his house, and we were talking about when we were kids, we would write in what you mentioned, line lines and dots, and I would write in columns. I can remember doing this as a kid, and this person said, "Oh, I did too." And there was a certain symbol that kept coming up for both of us that have stayed with us. So his wife told him to go upstairs and draw his on a sticky note, and I stayed at the kitchen table and drew mine on a sticky note. And here they are. So here's his right here, and then this was mine.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we both went, oh my God, what does that mean? But you're right. I guess I wanted to share that because even though we both drew these symbols, we don't know the meaning of it, right? And I think that's what's frustrating as you're looking at, in even Dr. Sprinkle's files, these people will write out these, this beautiful written language of perhaps the ETs, yet we don't know the context or what they're trying to say. And my question to you is, do these writings comes with downloads and messages like telepathically? And do they ever tell you like, yes, this is what this message says?
No, nobody. That's what bothered me was that nobody ever said, this is what this means. So that's why I kept asking people, or in the research, I was trying to figure out, well, okay, so what's the message? I did mention, I think that they have people in the government who, there's a guy, what's his name? Howard Company or something like that. But anyway, he had apparently deciphered certain coded messages that were coming in. He didn't say how they were arriving on Earth. So I don't know if they were arriving in the form of, radio blasts or, something like that, or frequencies, or whether they were coming in with shapes or forms. And ultimately, those two are the same thing anyway. You just got to be able to find the equivalence. But he interpreted the information that he got as being certain words like rows, columns, table, and then references to rare earth minerals. So that could, that sounds like, and my remote viewing CRV teacher was Lynn Buchanan. And his opinion is there are 4 different types of ETs. You got your good psychic ones, your intended psychic ones, and you got the 2 equivalent groups of good and evil, which have no psychic abilities. And he feels that traveling, it's just it's a voyage. So if you need to pick up some gas or some fuel, you may as well look for some rare earth, elements. and so that seems like a kind of a boring type of a message. The more exotic ones are the ones that have to do with, what's this all about? Where's God? Who are we? Where do we come from? And also the questions of, catastrophic earth event, where are we going? And people do get those, but they normally get those more in a telepathic vein, not so much in the written vein.
Interesting.
Nancy, I want to ask you about your trip to Russia, learning about psychokinetic. And also, you had some kind of injury to your back, but you were healed. This is a 2-part question. One, the psychokinetic in Russia, but while you were there, you injured your back and how you got healed.
I'm actually, that's what I'm working on in terms of my book right now. I went over there. It was a 2 weeks training course to do. I already knew how to do psychokinesis.
Can you explain what psychokinesis is for those who don't know?
Yeah, it's like that. It's being able to bend metal with your mind. It's being able to move usually small items with your mind, like paper spirals that are suspended inside a sealed glass container, or a pinwheel type of a thing.
Cool.
And I had worked with scientists on that for a couple of years prior to going over there. And I actually went over there on the recommendation of one of them with me, but he backed out at the very last minute. And I ended up going with a good friend of mine who's an aerospace engineer. Thank goodness I did, because it was a very creepy experience. From the first day, and you got to. I was playing tennis and taking long 2-hour walks and that kind of thing, right up until the day I left for Russia. And I arrived the first day of training. My back started to kind of bother me, and it got worse. And I was afraid to take ibuprofen or anything like that, because I didn't want to mess up my mental abilities if that was going to have an impact on me being able to do the work. But most of what they were teaching us was physical exercise. And so we did about, 7 hours of like very gentle sort of yoga-like exercises every day. And about the 8th day, the director finally decided to pay attention, because I could barely sit or stand and I couldn't really do the exercises. I was in excruciating pain. And she said, okay, we're going to heal you, or I'm going to heal you. And I said, great. She said, stand up. Yeah. She did sort of like a medical intuitive scan on me, told me to sit down. I had to sit on the very edge of the bench with, my no support for the back. She didn't really care about that. And she said, okay, now here's the exercise. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to start with, they don't use the words chakras or meridians. They use different words. But anyway, essentially your root chakra, and go up through the vertebrae, take white light up through all the way up through each vertebrae, and then you're going to shoot it out your crown chakra. Okay, I did that. She said, okay, now, did you do that? I said, yeah. She said, you're going to pull in all of the black light, and you're going to draw it in through your crown chakra and bring it all the way down through your vertebrae down to your root chakra. And as soon as I heard that, I said, oh my God, there's something extremely wrong with that. In all of the work I've ever done as an energy healer, medical intuitive, psychic, anything, and a spiritual medium, I know you don't draw black energy or black light in for healing purposes.
Mm-hmm.
You think they were going to sabotage you?
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's what it sounds like.
Well, we were treated to all kinds of things, which we were essentially, I didn't think I was going to get out of there alive. Let me put it that way.
Wow.
Wow. That's scary. Gosh, this time, like always, has flown by. And I want to mention and have you talk about your 2 websites. You have the skepticalpsychic.com and talkalien.com. If you could tell us about these sites and what people will find there, I hope people will go check them out.
Yeah, thanks. So, and they're both hideously in need of updating. So I'm sorry about that. It is what it is. I'm going to get to it eventually. But yeah, the main website is the skepticalpsychic.com. And if anybody's interested in doing any of the TSP training courses that I offer, you can go there, check it out, go to the workshops page. If you are interested in any type of a private reading, you can go there also. And there's more information about me and some of my background. I used to have a predictions page, but I got rid of it. So it was just, I kept it for about over a decade and said, no, that's it. Talk Alien is more sort of, and it's more to give sort of an introductory type of taste of all these different types of communications. And that's another way people can get in touch with me, because I've sort of built up a database over time of different types of communications.
Oh, very interesting. And I also want to tell our listeners too, to make sure you check out Nancy's 2 books, because they're fabulous. They're super interesting. I like the illustrations you have in there, and there's so much you can learn. Yeah. About, psychic intuition. And like Nancy said, I mean, this is something that we all are born with, and we all can exercise like a muscle, right, Nancy? So I think this book really helps with that. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Sure. Yeah. And so do you have any big exciting projects coming up for the year?
Yeah, as I said, it's been, sort of a interesting COVID-ish type of time the last couple of years. I'm sure we're all familiar with that. So I'm just slowly starting to get back into it. I'm doing some local work in Connecticut. So I'll be doing some teaching and some readings with something called the Angel Cooperative. Let's see. I'm launching actually another TSP training course tonight, right after I finish up here.
Oh, cool.
Let's see. What else can I tell you?
How about a remote viewing? You're giving a remote viewing class, aren't you?
Yeah. That's what I teach. Remote viewing. Yeah. All it is it's basically clairvoyance with protocols.
Awesome.
And the protocols. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and people can sign up for that on your website.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause I might be interested in doing that. I know we should all do that. All of us. Chris, Tara, Katie.
Me too.
Katie, me.
Let's do it. Okay.
Let's do it. Let's all do it. I'm in.
Nancy, look out.
Yeah. You're in trouble now.
Yeah.
No, not at all. You guys are in trouble.
I've been in trouble most of my life. So.
And you're working on another book. You're working on another book as well, too, Nancy, aren't you? You
mentioned that.
Yeah, I am.
Yep.
I am. I'm working on several things simultaneously, but it's sort of it's a slow start after the pandemic. But yeah, we're getting there.
Well, I'm anxious to learn more about that, and I hope you'll come back on with us when you get that done. Yeah. And we'll all take your course, and we can have you back on and discuss how we all did. But anyway, I want to thank you so much for being here, Nancy. It's just been so fascinating. And thank you, Tara. Thank you, Chris. I hope Jerry and Jenna make it back from their vacation soon. Thank you, Amanda Kieran, our producer, and Bill Skywatcher. And thank you most of all to our listeners out there. And we hope to see you back next Tuesday night. Everybody have a great, fantastic rest of your week. And thanks again, Nancy, for being here.
Thank you so much. I really had a good time.
Everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.